The Samurai Turned Pretty just added a bunch of cast members to season 3 and we need to talk about it. The new season is so close, it's premiering July 16th on Prime Video, and now they've dropped 7 new cast members for the 3rd season. And I genuinely don't know what to do with this information. I mean, I knew obviously there's new characters, they're in college, there's gonna be new friends, new people, new love interests. I guess I just wasn't expecting this many, but let's get into it. We have Isabella Briggs, Kristen Connolly, Lily Donahue, I think she might be our Lacey, Sophia Bryant, Emma Ishta, Tanner Zagarino, and Zoe DeGrand Maison. I mean, this is a hefty list of newcomers for season 3. Just can't wait to find out their roles and how they play a part in season 3. And will they be characters from the book, or will they be new made-up characters from the show? Kind of like Skye, played by Elsie Fisher in season 2. It's just a new character that wasn't related to the books. But what do you guys think? Let us know what you think in the comments and make sure to tell us if you know who their character is. Head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates. Oh my gosh, this is not a drill. We might have the release date for all of the episodes of The Summer I Turned Pretty. We've been speculating constantly if we're going to know if the season will drop all at once or weekly releases like it has been. There was even a mix-up on IMDb where it showed that they would all be released on the same day. And that was quickly removed to just the first episode. And now, maybe we have a confirmation. You look up The Summer I Turned Pretty, it's showing all of the episodes to be released July 16th, which means the show might be available for streaming all on the same day, which is really unfortunate for me because that means I'm gonna have to pull an all-nighter watching these nonstop with my friends. And I'm not prepared for that. I do love it all the same. Now, this isn't confirmed. We haven't heard anything from Jenny Han or Amazon yet, but I just hope it's true. Because honestly, waiting till September for all of the episodes is going to stress me out. But at the same time, I do love the discourse and being able to talk about each episode after it airs. Let us know what you guys think in the comments and which one you would prefer, and head to Brit.Co for even more entertainment updates.
There's one thing I have not seen a single person talk about from the Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 trailer, and I want to see if I'm reading too much into it. I'm Chloe from Brit+Co, and I've been locked in on all the color, symbolism, and Easter eggs we've gotten so far with the Summer I Turned Pretty marketing. This is me. You might have seen this video, and I want to continue to talk about it because it's all I think about. Obviously, we have established that this season of the Summer I Turned Pretty, Jeremiah is golden and Conrad is red. So I'm curious why we're seeing Belly in blue so much when she's in her relationship with Jeremiah. And we have seen Belly in blue before, obviously, but we haven't quite gotten this much of a color symbolism between the two brothers. So that's why I'm reading more into it now than with previous seasons. Fans of the book have pointed out that Belly's white dress with blue flowers, which you can see in the second picture, is from the book. But I have noticed so many other blue dresses, blue bathing suits. And if Conrad is red and Taylor Swift sings that Losing Him Was Blue Like I'd Never Known, I can't help but wonder if this blue means something else. Do you think I'm reading too much into the Taylor Swift of it all, or do you think that these details are intentional? Because The Summer I Turned Pretty and Jenny Han are so meticulous and detailed about so many things that I would not be surprised to find out the costumes were Easter eggs all along. But we are going to have to wait until July 16th to find out. So make sure you follow Brit+Co to see some of our exclusive interviews with the cast and keep up with all of the TV news that you absolutely need to know about in 2025.
Have a The Summer I Turned Pretty theory that scares me. I don't want it to be true. Why is everyone so moody in the cast pictures for The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 except for Steven? Every single cast member is extremely moody. And they seem upset over something, like something is going on behind the eyes, except for Steven. He's the only one that's happy and smiling. I fear the Steven dying theory might be true. Because why do they all look like they're mourning something? Except for him. Like, that is a full smile. Everyone else is like, maybe there's a slight smize, but they're pretty moody. But then he's full on smiling, super happy. There's nothing sad going on behind the eyes. I don't know. I think it might be true. Clearly, there is a car accident of some kind that Steven gets into because we know this from the trailer. Taylor looks really upset. It looks like she's at the hospital. There is some sort of car accident. I don't know. The cast members in all of the promo for this seem to be kind of hinting at this. When asked about Steven and Taylor's future, they're very vague. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this is possible? Let us know in the comments and head to Brit.Co for even more entertainment updates.
I made the most devastating discovery at the end of The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 5, and I need to point it out because I need to see if anyone else caught this. Obviously, at the end of the episode, we see Conrad promise Susanna that he's going to take care of Jeremiah, and in his mind, that means letting him and Belly be together instead of confessing Conrad's own love for Belly. But Conrad finally lets his guard down as the big brother, I guess, and tells his mom that he's not ready to live a life without her and ends up crying on her lap, which is, I think, the first time we've seen Conrad really cry the whole series. But as the camera pans away from Susanna and Conrad at the end of the flashback, if you read Susanna's lips, you can see that she's singing to Conrad, and you can see her form the words, "Cry, baby mine, dry your." Those are the lyrics to Baby Mine from Dumbo, and I literally can't even process that information. I don't think I've seen Dumbo in like 10 or 15 years because it makes me too upset. And 15 minutes ago when I was listening to the song, I just immediately burst into tears, so that hasn't changed. But let me know if you caught this detail because I'm literally gagged. I can't believe this. And I refuse to end the video on a sad note, so let's talk about the fact that this scene now exists on the television show. Oh my gosh. This really proves that Jenny Han and the Summer I Turned Pretty team understand the female gaze, and thank goodness for that. Make sure you check out our exclusive interviews with the Summer I Turned Pretty cast and follow along for all of the Easter eggs and details you might have missed because we still have 6 weeks to go and there is so much content coming. So by now, the Summer I Turned Pretty fans are pretty well acquainted with how much Season 3 seems to be referencing The Notebook. We have similar shots, we have similar situations that the characters find themselves in, and we even have similar like color palettes in the costumes. I'm paying attention. But there is one thing I haven't seen a single person say, and I gotta point it out. Because there's one detail that I think has been tying Belly and Conrad to Allie and Noah from The Notebook since Season 1. And it's the fact that the song that I associate them with, fans associate them with, and even the cast associates them with, is The Way I Loved You by Taylor Swift, because that is a song I have always said was inspired by The Notebook. The song is all about being in a relationship with someone that your friends love, who seems to be a good match and set up for your future, but you can't stop thinking about a relationship from your past that kind of kept you on your toes. Plus, talking about fighting and screaming in the rain is one of the most iconic things from The Notebook, if not early 2000s cinema, so. And of course, The Way I Loved You played at the end of Season 1 during the Deb Ball, when Conrad stepped in for Jeremiah as Belly's escort. And when this scene started playing for the first time in 2022, I'm not exaggerating when I say that I fell to my knees. I was on my floor. I will remember this scene for the rest of my life. I'm really hoping we get another The Way I Loved You needle drop in Season 3. We still have a few weeks left, so never say never in my opinion. But considering that the song plays in Season 1, I really think it's been teasing Belly and Conrad's endgame in the show since the very beginning. Let me know what you think about all of these Notebook parallels and which needle drops you're hoping to see in a future episode. I'm also really hoping we get a Taylor Swift single from The Life of a Showgirl before September 17th so that a brand new Taylor Swift song can be featured in the final season of the show. That would be the most masterminded thing Jenny Han has ever done, and I would probably cry. But follow Brit+Co for all of the pop culture exclusives, Easter eggs you missed, and also our exclusive interviews with the Summer I Turned Pretty cast. Hi, so this was crazy. Conrad fans, are you okay? This was a huge week for the Summer I Turned Pretty fans, both book fans, show fans, Taylor Swift fans, because we finally got the wipeout scene where Belly and Conrad are in Cousins. Conrad wipes out while surfing, and then she helps with the gaping wound, dripping blood all over the floor. Okay, everyone's talking about the fact that False God played during this moment between them, since it was the song that played in Season 1 during their almost kiss. But there's something that I haven't seen anyone talk about that I'm literally freaking out about. The last Taylor Swift song that we got in Season 3 was in Episode 1, which was You're Losing Me, when Belly finds out Jeremiah slept with Lacey. So this is a crazy needle drop in and of itself, but it features Taylor Swift's literal heartbeat, and she sings about how it feels like her heart is stopping throughout this relational tragedy that now Belly's also experiencing. And when the intro to False God starts playing during this moment, you can hear a heartbeat. Like maybe after all this time, Conrad is still the one Belly's heart beats for, like she says in Season 1, and after the heartbreak of dealing with Jeremiah's cheating, maybe he's the one who helps her heart restart. This is an insane decision. And I can't stop thinking about it. This is basically how I'm feeling after that. Oh my gosh. I also can't help but hope that we might get a Life of a Showgirl, like, random lead single in one of these episodes. That's my version of living for the hope of it all. Make sure you follow Brit+Co for all of the pop culture news, exclusive interviews, and the Summer I Turned Pretty Easter eggs that you simply cannot miss. So in case you missed it, the Summer I Turned Pretty introduced us to a character whose impact on the story and the other characters is pretty significant. This is Kaylee. She's Adam's secretary, and she is the woman that Adam cheated on Susanna with when Susanna was going through chemo. And fans have been talking nonstop about the fact that we finally have met her and she still works in the office. But there is another detail that I would say is even more significant for Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah's arc. So obviously Susanna knew about the affair, told Laurel. Conrad found out about the affair and told Belly, and Jeremiah still does not know, which means that there is yet another secret tying Conrad and Belly together, in addition to spending Christmas at Cousins with Conrad, which she decides needs to stay a secret. Jenny Han points out that Belly feels like it's not her secret to share, but I do think it's interesting that there is another thing tying Belly and Conrad together, even though they are no longer in a relationship. And the whole nature of secrets and the whole idea of secrets is something that's going to keep coming up this season, because I have a feeling if Jeremiah finds out about this, when Jeremiah finds out about Christmas, when Conrad finds out about Cabo, these are just such important things for all these characters that are really going to propel them forward and could make or break their relationships. Let us know what you think in the comments, and make sure you follow Brit+Co for all of the pop culture analysis, exclusive interviews, and Easter eggs that you don't want to miss. Another week, another Summer I Turned Pretty episode to dissect, and I need y'all to lock in because this one is literally crazy. The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 Episode 7 is all about Jeremiah's bachelor party and Belly's bachelorette party. Both of them are doing their own bar crawls, and we get this dance montage to We Can't Be Friends by Ariana Grande. And literally, this is not only my favorite moment of the entire season so far, but it might be one of my favorite moments of the entire series. I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't stop listening to the song now. So as Belly's dancing, she's getting all of these memories of Conrad throughout their lives. And yes, remembering him comes in echoes and flashbacks as Taylor Swift sings in Red. But I want to point out a really crazy detail that I realized. So we've already established multiple times that loving him was red and losing him was blue. And him, in this case, being Conrad. And as Belly's dancing in this tiki bar, the lights are purple, but throughout this memory montage, they fade to red until she physically, like, shakes herself and pulls herself together, and they flash to blue. And I think this is a really interesting distinction because to me, it kind of reveals that her natural state, her natural direction is towards Conrad. The way that the lights fade, it just kind of naturally happens. But then the blue lights and kind of the reality of her relationship with Jeremiah, I think, is more forceful and more of an active decision rather than just something that she naturally gravitates to. Oh, this scene is so good. I can't stop thinking about it. Let us know in the comments what you think about this episode and this moment. I think this is going to be my favorite episode of season 3. So not only is the Summer I Turned Pretty season 3 episode 7 going to be my favorite episode of the season, but it finally completes the color theory narrative arc that I have been claiming since the posters dropped and the trailer dropped, and I'm going to walk you through it. So we've already established that Conrad is Red by Taylor Swift. And in the song, Taylor sings that loving him was red, losing him was blue, and missing him was dark gray. And so we see Belly in red a lot in these interactions with Conrad. And then we've seen her in blue a lot in her relationship with Jeremiah, which I think proves that even though she's been in a relationship with Jeremiah, her default setting is still being in love with Conrad because she is affected by the fact that she lost him. The shift really comes at the end of episode 6 of season 3, where Belly's helping Conrad clean a wound on his leg and they almost kiss. And she's really confronted with the fact that, you know, she still has unresolved feelings for him. And so instead of the absence of like Conrad being in California and just having to accept the loss and move on, losing him was blue. Now she's actively dealing with these unresolved feelings and realizing that she is actively missing him. Missing him was gray. Is this a stretch? Let me know in the comments. I feel very confidently about this. Listen, I watch TV for a living. I analyze costumes every single day. I've been a Swiftie for 10 years. I'm so confident about this. Jenny Han, if you want to weigh in, I'm all ears. I also want to point out that the end of the episode features LOML by Taylor Swift. which sings about a broken relationship walking back into rekindled flames, and Love and Him was burning red. Make sure you follow Brit+Co for all of the Summer I Turned Pretty analysis, Taylor Swift Easter eggs, pop culture news that you absolutely need to know. And stay tuned for more episode updates as we get closer to the finale on September 17th. Jenny Han, Prime Video, Lola Tongue. I need to send you all my therapy bill because this caused me physical pain. I'm Chloe from Brit+Co, and my favorite episodes of The Summer I Turned Pretty in both season 1 and season 2 have been episode 6. And there are so many episode 6 parallels in the new episode 7 that I can't stop thinking about. So in case you need a refresher, season 1 episode 6 ends with Belly and Conrad on the dock, and she tells him to stop texting her and leaves him on the dock while When the Party's Over by Billie Eilish plays. Such a good choice. Oh my goodness, it brings tears to my eyes. Season 2 episode 6 is the house party, and it ends with Belly and Conrad fighting on the beach. We get the "I thought you knew" proclamation, and Snow on the Beach by Taylor Swift plays, which is my favorite song from Midnights. So all around, excellent work. And so when season 3, episode 7 ended with Conrad's love confession on the beach, which we'll get to in a minute, while a cover of When the Party's Over played, and Belly left him on the beach again, and then he was on the dock by himself again, I about lost my mind. So season 3, episode 7 ends after Conrad has found out about Jeremiah cheating with Lacey. He tells Belly already knew, and they end up having a fight about why Belly would marry Jeremiah anyway. And Conrad finally confesses that he is still in love with Belly and has always been in love with Belly. And we finally get the line, "Don't be with him, don't marry him, be with me." My jaw was on the floor, honestly. And then Belly ends up telling Conrad that their relationship meant nothing, and Conrad treated her worse than Jeremiah cheating on her, and just like this whole fight. It ends with Belly literally falling to her knees, sobbing in the sand, and then brushing herself off and going back to the house. And then Conrad on the beach crying. And I really don't know how they're going to move on from this. This whole episode was a real testament to how talented Chris and Lola are. They have great chemistry, which is good, but they're also so powerful as actors on their own that their facial expressions, their body language, the way that they deliver lines literally like makes me physically upset when they're upset. So at the end of the episode, Belly ends up sleeping in Taylor's bed with her and is really just like left with the reality that none of their relationships and none of their lives will ever be the same because of this one night. That is so stressful. Anyway, I just had to point out these parallels because I can't stop thinking about them. Stay tuned for future episode updates because none of the other family members know that Jeremiah cheated on Belly. And Jeremiah doesn't know about Conrad's love confession. And Jeremiah doesn't know that Belly really just always imagined marrying Conrad. We're in for a doozy, y'all.
Let's talk about the "don't marry him" trope and why it being in the last episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty might have revealed the ending. Everything Jenny Han does is for a specific reason. We know this from all of the symbolism and the imagery that we're seeing so far this season. And in this past episode, we got the big "don't marry him" moment. It's been iconic throughout TV and movies. But one through line that most of them have is that the couple always ends up being endgame. We see that here with Chuck and Blair, where he gives virtually the same speech that Conrad did to Belly. Same with Lori and Amy. Basically the same speech, where Amy says, "Why are you doing this now?" But still endgame. We have Jim and Pam, and yes, this wasn't technically a "don't marry him," but it was very similar love confession, trying to get it off his chest, and they also ended up being together. This and Jane the Virgin, another "don't marry him" moment, and also endgame. Notebook, I mean, come on. Already seen so much symbolism between Conrad and Noah from the Notebook. So this just further proves that, of course, Conrad is going to be endgame. And if you want my hot take, I also think Lizzie and Theo from the Buccaneers, right after they had this "don't marry him" moment, I knew they were going to be endgame. But that's just my theory, and I'm curious to what you guys think, so let us know in the comments and head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates. Finally got to see what was in the letters that Susanna wrote for Conrad and Jeremiah, and oh my gosh, you guys, I'm still spiraling thinking about this. I have to admit, when Jeremiah found out that the letter was intended for Conrad, I did feel for him. That was hard. Not to mention that his mother thought that Conrad was going to end up with Belly because she's only seen him in love once. Oh my gosh. And that she left her ring for Conrad and Conrad had to give it to Jeremiah because he thought that Belly should have it. Mind blown. Let's also talk about Conrad's "speak now" moment because that was kind of crazy. Just the way that he decided to ultimately give her up to Jeremiah and decide to leave because he couldn't bear to watch her get married to him. Then it kind of makes sense why he's been wearing blue and dark gray and black so much, seen here. Because while loving him was red for her, losing her was blue. Almost been in like mourning with his wardrobe. He stopped wearing these whites and different colors. He's been just gravitating towards navy and black and gray. You can really see how this whole end of the season has started to affect him. At the beginning of the season, when he was happy in therapy, he thought he was doing well and has moved on. He was wearing reds and whites and blues and light denim, and now it's just completely reverted to black the more he's been around Belly and has been sad and kind of mourning the loss of her all over again. Just the fact that they had to drop that he was the one who had been holding on to Susanna's ring, maybe holding on to the hope of her, and he finally gave that up. And I am freaking out for the next episode. Let us know what you guys think in the comments and head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates. Okay, you guys, we have to talk about how the flowers are totally giving away the ending of The Summer I Turned Pretty. There is so much symbolism in the imagery here, so let's get right into it. Obviously, spoilers ahead. First of all, we have to talk about how the flowers in front of the house have been blue for most of the season. And obviously, we've known that blue is representative of Jeremiah and red is representative of Conrad. So mostly blue. We can see she's very dedicated and loyal to Jeremiah, but we're starting to see some of these red flowers peeking through. Credits to so many creators for finding this, but it started out here. Then here we're starting to see a little bit more. And it's somewhat here now. So we're starting to see her heart lean more towards Conrad. But if we look at the imagery for The Summer I Turned Pretty, we see the red flowers right behind here. She's also wearing red. I also am crazy and I've spotted the red flowers in so many of the behind the scenes shots. So out of place, they definitely had to be put there on purpose. And the good old profile picture for The Summer I Turned Pretty is red flowers. Clearly, Conrad is going to be endgame. Something else I loved that this creator caught is that Susanna was always putting together flower arrangements, and then we see Conrad start to do the same thing. And it could be representative of how even though Belly was leaning more towards Jeremiah, Conrad was still trying to take care of her and trying to take care of her heart even though she was dating Jeremiah. And then we have the pictures where she's wearing the yellow dress and there are yellow flowers in the background. This is new. These aren't blue or red. But we see them in this picture for The Summer I Turned Pretty. And it's the same dress that she's wearing in what's rumored to be the final scene with Conrad. You can see they're filming here. This creator posted about it. These two were spotted driving in a car together. The Summer I Turned Pretty official account posted this picture collage with the color of the season, butter yellow. I think they were somewhat hinting at this quote, "For Belly, Conrad is the sun, and when the sun comes out, the stars disappear." To me, this represents that our girl is going to be choosing the sun. She is going to be choosing what makes her happy, which is Conrad, potentially. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments and head to Brit.Co for even more entertainment updates.
Hi, as far as I'm concerned, this is a red alert because The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 8, which is titled Last Kiss, by the way. It's a crazy title. The episode ends around the same place that the book ends, and it also gives us the rest of the trailer clips we haven't seen yet, which means we have 3 episodes left and not a single person knows what's coming, except for Jenny Han, obviously. But even the people that you're hearing reviews from have not seen these episodes, so we are literally all in this together. So the episode ends with Belly and Jeremiah calling off their wedding and Belly leaving for the airport to go to Paris, where Cardigan by Taylor Swift plays, and she sees Conrad waiting at the gate. And the last shot of the episode is Belly stepping out of line to go towards him. So one thing I've been talking about since before the season even premiered was the episode titles, and we finally know that every episode of season 3 starts with last. Season 1 has summer, season 2 has love, and season 3 has last. But they've been giving them to us one at a time, and it really makes me wonder if now that Belly and Conrad could have this whole future in front of them, if we're going to get an episode that starts with first. I'll literally cry. It's giving, but on a Wednesday in a cafe, I saw it begin again. And we still don't even know what's coming. Spoiler alert for some set leaks incoming. Apparently Jeremiah is crashing Belly's trip to Paris. Get this woman to Europe and let her be by herself. She needs some alone time. And this is what I'm most excited about. This is in fact the yellow dress from the first The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 poster. Lola Tung was seen filming in it alongside Chris Briney. And they could also be seen driving away. And if the last shot of season 3 is a married Belly and Conrad driving away, hopefully while Infinity by One Direction plays, y'all will need to check on me. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. My voice is like sounding different. All in all, we have 3 episodes to go until The Summer I Turned Pretty ends, and I cannot wait. You probably missed what I think is a Taylor Swift Easter egg for The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 8. Let's talk about it. So throughout Belly's wedding day, or as Belly's wedding day like falls apart, both Taylor and Steven come to her defense in conversations with Conrad, where Taylor tells him that he can't just treat Belly like a toy to play with whenever he wants. And Steven says that Conrad needs to repair his relationship with Jeremiah, set things right, and specifically fix what he broke. Now, both of these pieces of dialogue together just have me thinking of My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys by Taylor Swift. And I think that is incredibly applicable to this whole situation from Belly's point of view. Aside from the fact that she is like trying to honor Jeremiah, she's so terrified to get back into a relationship with Conrad because she's terrified of being hurt again, is what I think. I also picked these photos as my background because this scene destroyed me. The forehead kiss will get me every time. If you think about it, Belly and Conrad from The Summer I Turned Pretty were always going to Paris. Let's talk about it. The Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3, Episode 8 ends with Belly and Jeremiah calling off their wedding, Belly going to the airport to fly to Paris, and then stepping out of line when she sees Conrad at the gate. So whatever happens next is going to be brand new for everyone because this is technically where the book ends, but there is one change that the show made from the book that makes their whole through line so much more beautiful. So in the book, We'll Always Have Summer by Jenny Han, Belly studies abroad in Spain, but in the show, they change it to Paris. So Paris is actually such a big deal because it connects to a lot of the old movies that Belly and Conrad share. Not only is that where Sabrina goes to study in the movie Sabrina, which a lot of fans have called out similarities between season 3 and that movie, but We'll Always Have Paris is a line from Casablanca, which is what Belly and Conrad are watching at Christmas. And We'll Always Have Paris, We'll Always Have Summer. Like, it was always there. We're going to have to wait until next week to see exactly what happens, but I loved this ending because Belly's facial expression changing when she recognizes that it's Conrad, and even just her tiny step forward ends the episode on a note of, like, openness and movement and hope. And I think that is the core of who she is, and we haven't quite seen that version of her, arguably, all season. Lola Tung is just so talented, and Jenny Han is so talented, and I can't wait to see how this wraps up. Let us know what you think about Paris in the comments, and make sure you follow Brit+Co for all of the Summer I Turned Pretty analysis you definitely can't miss. Au revoir! We finally have confirmation on who is at the altar when Belly's walking down the aisle in this clip, which is from the Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 trailer and in the Summer I Turned Pretty Season 3 Episode 8. And it's been a question that the Summer I Turned Pretty fans have had since the trailer first dropped. Some people were wondering if it was Jeremiah, some people were wondering if it was going to actually be Conrad, and some people thought that this might be Steven's funeral. It's not Steven's funeral. So this is a clip from Belly's wedding rehearsal. You can see she's carrying actually a bouquet of ribbons, which is like a tradition at a bridal shower, to make a bouquet out of the ribbons, and the bride walks down the aisle with the bouquet at the rehearsal. But my main question from this whole sequence is, why is this not Belly's wedding dress? It's so beautiful, and it's higher quality than the actual wedding dress that she has. So not only, like, why is she not wearing this at the wedding, but where did she get this one? I have a lot of questions. Let us know if you guessed correctly that this was going to be the wedding rehearsal scene, and follow Brit+Co for all of the analysis, Taylor Swift Easter eggs, and pop culture exclusives that you need to know.
This is exactly what I think is going to happen in next week's episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty. And my credentials are that I'm not usually wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't think I will be. So my prediction is that for the next episode, I think it will be just world building. Unfortunately, I think it's just going to be Belly in Paris, introducing us to these 4 new cast members that we've yet to see. Belly finding herself and choosing herself, which we need. Belly has always been in a relationship with either brother. She's been very confused. She doesn't really know herself. Let's give her this. Let's give her this episode to find herself and just do what she needs to do. Then I think it's going to cue a montage of her loving Paris with the song Paris by Taylor Swift in the background. You know it. But I think that next week's episode will end with her finally finding herself, and maybe she's happy with this new guy that she's starting to see. You know, this one that she was looking at all starry-eyed. And she finally feels like she's moving on, she's doing well. I think at the end of the episode, we will get the song About You by the 1975, like memories lingering in about Conrad, and then she gets this letter. She gets the first letter from Conrad, and the episode title will be called First Letter. But let me know what you guys think is going to happen in the next episode, because I'm loving all of the theories. Drop it down below in the comments and head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates. So I guess we're getting Belly in Paris for the last 3 episodes. I have to say, I was genuinely not expecting this. I know I should have seen it because she was literally leaving to Paris in the last episode, but I didn't think we would get a whole nother spin-off inside of the show. With all new cast members, a potentially new love interest in this guy right here. I mean, you can see in the trailer at how she's looking at him. Definitely, I think she's going to have a new love interest. I mean, this is full-fledged going to be potentially 3 hours of her in Paris. But then we have this. I'm excited for this, but at the same time, I feel very overwhelmed with this storyline. It's already been very almost rage bait with all of the Jeremiah content, and now knowing that we're going to get so much of Belly in Paris, which I think is integral to the story, it's still a lot less of Conrad we most likely will be seeing. So I'm having a hard time adjusting to what this will be like. Also meeting a whole new cast, it looks like, potentially 4 other new cast members. So I will only be okay with this if they do this for 1, maybe 2 episodes, but the last episode is literally just her and Conrad being in love and happy for 60 plus minutes. Let us know what you guys think about this in the comments. I, for one, am not sure how I feel. You guys, I have so many thoughts after this episode, but mainly the reason that they rage baited us with Jeremiah, I think I know why. As we all know, many people are Team Jeremiah. I'm not going to say too much about it. I, for one, am not Team Jeremiah, but the team is very strong. And I think Jenny Han knew that going into this last season, she kind of had to destroy that ship in order to let the next one sail, if you know what I mean. I'm sure she didn't want people to end the series and still be so mad that she should have chosen Jeremiah. I think she wanted it to be pretty unanimously for Conrad, which is why I think he was just extra annoying this episode. I mean, he was rude to Laurel, he was yelling at everybody, and granted, he did basically just get broken up with, but also he cheated on her. So I don't know why he's so upset at Conrad over this, and I think the reason why is they are genuinely trying to make it so that no one is Team Jeremiah. I think this episode was necessary for that. Because for the next few episodes to hopefully be mostly Conrad, they had to ensure that nobody had leftover feelings for Jeremiah, which thus makes Conrad look even better when Belly will inevitably choose him. Downside, we had to be rage baited with Jeremiah. Upside, I don't think there's any Team Jeremiah left. Was going to give away his mother's wedding ring to a bartender. But I don't know. I'm sure I will be corrected in the comments. Let me know what you guys think and head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates. Exactly 2 things saved this past episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty for me. And that was these 2 finally really solving their communication issue. I mean, thank you for being adults. Loved the vulnerability between these 2. It genuinely saved the episode for me. And then the use of Taylor Swift. You're on your own, kid. With her walking through Paris was genuinely incredible. I didn't love the how did it end ending, mostly because I just didn't want it to end there, but I did love that they still used it. They're averaging about 2 Taylor Swift songs per episode, so what do you guys think will be in the next one? I really think we're gonna get a healed Belly in the next episode, so I'm hoping for like a fun Suburban Legends, 1989 bonus tracks, I don't know. Her new friend group seems to really have a good time, so I think she's gonna enjoy just having fun, and I think the Taylor Swift songs will reflect that. But what did you guys think of this episode, and what was your favorite part? Let us know in the comments and head to Brit.co for even more entertainment updates.
This one detail from this week's The Summer I Turned Pretty proves that Belly is finally officially moving on from Jeremiah. So when Belly gets to Paris, she does the one thing you're literally never supposed to do in a city, which is leave your bag unattended. If you did not know that, consider this your official warning. Do not do that. But she leaves it unattended, her bag gets stolen, and she ends up going on this crazy adventure to find it, which leads her to a nightclub in Paris. That's also where she is introduced to some new characters, including Gemma, and when Belly introduces herself to Gemma, she ends up introducing herself as Isabel and not Belly. And this is a huge character development that is super important for the future of the show. The reason that I say this one moment kind of proves Belly's moving on from Jeremiah is a lot of fans this season have been talking about how they think Belly's relationship with Jeremiah is kind of stunting her emotional growth. She's losing herself in the relationship. She isn't quite the earnest version of herself that we have come to love over the last couple of seasons. And by introducing herself as Isabel instead of Belly, it kind of proves that her perception of herself is evolving, as well as how she wants other people to see her. I also think it proves she's leaving a little bit of her relationship with Conrad behind, because this version of Belly, Isabel, is not waiting for either of them. She is taking her life into her own hands and taking agency and making these decisions for herself, i.e. to stay in Paris, that she's never made before, and I literally love that so much. I honestly think this is one of the objectively better episodes of the season. There are high stakes and emotional payoff that we have been waiting multiple episodes for, but it lacks the over-the-top melodrama that I think some of the other episodes have. And overall, I just really loved this episode. Make sure you follow Brit+Co for all of the episode updates and analysis, because there are only 2 episodes left and you do not want to miss a single second. This week's The Summer I Turned Pretty kind of just proved that Belly and Conrad are the same person, because as soon as something difficult happens or they don't really know what their next step is supposed to be, they hop on a plane. Obviously, after he realized he was still in love with Belly and Belly was in a relationship with Jeremiah, Conrad hops on a flight to California, barely comes back to the East Coast, and when her wedding falls apart, Belly hops on a plane to Paris. So, honestly, that's relatable. I wish I was on a plane to Paris right now. I also loved these 2 details we got about Conrad this episode. After Belly boards the plane, even though they didn't talk and they didn't make eye contact, he still looks up and looks around, and I think it's because he sensed that she was there. And the other detail I loved is that he was the one who knew Red Gatorade helps Jeremiah with his hangovers. So even though he had a hand in kind of ending Jeremiah and Belly's wedding, he still knows Jeremiah better than a lot of other people, which is so older sibling coded. I just can't wait for Belly and Conrad to reunite, and I'm really hoping it's sooner rather than later. Stay tuned to see what next week's episode holds. Steven finally knows about Cabo. Thank you, Taylor. I've been waiting for this moment since we all found out as an audience about Jeremiah and Lacey, and I'm just glad that Steven finally knows, so he has all the information. Also, as the team captain of the Steven and Taylor ship, I am so glad that they finally had a heart-to-heart where they were able to express how much pain they caused each other and finally decide to give their relationship a real chance. And when they both admitted that a relationship and each other are worth risking pain, heartbreak, and their friendship for, I literally squealed a little bit. I just love them so much. This was also the cutest thing I've ever seen, so. And Steven calling Taylor Jewel is so Peter Kavinsky coded. I see you, Jenny Han. Their heart-to-heart is definitely one of the best moments of the episode, if not the whole season, and I can't wait to see what other moments we get from Steven and Taylor as the show wraps up. Let me know what you think about this moment and this conversation in the comments, because I literally need to talk to someone about it.
I noticed something in this episode that I think will really change the way that we view Adam Fisher in the next episodes. Seems genuinely confused whenever Conrad talks about not liking Kaylee, or if he kind of hints at that, or his frustration. I think they're going to change the storyline a little bit to maybe Conrad misconstrued the relationship that he had with Kaylee when he was married to Susanna. Maybe something didn't happen, there was a misunderstanding, I'm not totally sure. All I know is this episode, they tried to make Adam come across as more likable, which could mean a redemption arc for Adam Fisher. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I did like him more in this episode than past episodes. He was funny, his relationship and camaraderie with Laurel was actually somewhat endearing. He was there for Jeremiah, but he also supported Conrad, and he also made a really good point at he knew that Conrad was upset with him, so he let other people love on him. I honestly thought that was a good piece of advice to give. So I fear the redemption arc of Adam is only going to continue. Let us know in the comments and head to Brit+Co for even more entertainment updates.